welcome back to Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network. You can follow us on our YouTube channel as well at LA Rams Up. I'm your host, Mark. I'll be joined occasionally by my football gurus, Paul and Ian. Let's get to it. Hey, what's going on, Ram fans? Got Roundtable 57 here. Ian Martinez, Paul Wally on board. What's going on, Paul? You're looking like you're about ready for this, Game 5 of the World Series, a couple hours away. Hopefully we'll finish by then. What's going on?
Listen, I got the nachos and cheese ready to go. Sit back, watch the game. Listen, hopefully they close it out tonight because I have to get some sleep. It's been a long series. And we got to close it out tonight. I think Flaherty's going to pitch a gem.
So the Dodgers close out the World Series tonight, and the Rams beat the Seahawks, and the Bears beat the Cardinals, and the Rams are in first place. That's what we're going to talk about the Vikings game a little bit first, and we'll get into the Seahawks. What's going on, Ian? You all pumped up for?
No, well, you're dropping these dream scenarios on me, and it's just making me giddy, and I hope that does happen. And villains versus the evil empire tonight, round 5. Hopefully we have some good stuff to celebrate. But like I said, Dodgers needed to sprinkle some of that dust in the SoFi Stadium area, and it seems like that's been the case since I made that comment of like, hey, we got to get some winning ways back on the Rams side of things. So it's good. I'm feeling good right now. I feel good about the state of the team, which is now I felt a week and a half ago. So that's good.
Yeah, and that Vikings game was certainly a step in the right direction. That was, like we've already talked about it a little bit, that was just a top-notch performance. Just about every unit stepped up. So, and you were there, man, feeling so much better about this Rams team after that game. How much things have changed just in like 2 weeks.
I know. Yeah, it's crazy.
Did you guys?
Real quick, just while you bring up me being at the game, I mean, what a home field advantage it finally was for our young players and this group of players overall. Because Packer game, not a home field advantage there. A lot of Packer fans. Raider game, clearly not a home field game or home field advantage game. Niners, we all know, clearly not a home field advantage game. And it just felt like, golly, the schedule screwed us big time on that. But now that we're here, getting the home field, I think this could propel our players. And I think majority of the games going forward, we should have a home field advantage. Maybe other than the Eagle game, let's be honest about that on Sunday night. A lot of Eagle fans pull up here in LA to see their team. But majority of them that are left, I mean, it should help. And I think it helped big time on Thursday night. So good atmosphere. Shout out to you, Rams Nation, whoever pulled up to the game. If you blew out your voice like me, hell yeah. I'm barely recovering. Hopefully I sound all right. That and the Dodgers is just, I haven't had any real days to heal it, but keep showing up, keep showing out, and help feed positively into our players and our coaches to get wins at home. So it was good on Thursday.
We want to go through our players of the game on the Vikings?
Yeah, I think so. I'll go first. My player of the game, no doubt freaking about it, is Matthew Stafford. So, dude had 3 touchdown passes up until the Thursday night game, which is insane to think about it because, a top 5 quarterback, you think things will work out better. But again, no Puka, no Cup. I thought McVay's scheming and game planning was pretty whack a majority of the games. So that's how you end up with only 3 touchdowns with an all-pro level quarterback. But, what a shock. I guess dropping F-bombs is what needed to happen from me for things to change. Guys, the Rams ran 12 personnel 39% of the time in that game. What a chef's kiss. What a beautiful number that is percentage-wise between that and the 11 personnel, which opened up things for Matthew Stafford to survey the field and just throw laser beams. I mean, dude was on fire. And I think that blend, that diversity helped Matthew Stafford. And I think that led to him just being freaking awesome. I mean, 125 quarterback rating. That's pretty much perfect. 4 touchdowns, a little under 300 yards. Good completion percentage overall. I mean, there wasn't a throw he couldn't make. I know he had that one that sailed on him to DeMarcus Robinson, which that sucks. But, I'll take 4 touchdowns and a pick anytime, any game, anywhere. So Matthew freaking Stafford, Optimus 9, like Paul likes to call him. I like to call him Glock 9 when he's throwing multiple touchdown passes. And sometimes he'll do the gun holster celebration. That is fire, by the way, when he does that. Um, so I'm happy to see him ball out, and that's my player of the game, gentlemen. Dude is a
Straight
beast. I'm glad
gunslinger, baby. Straight
the
gunslinger.
whole crew is back together offensively. So we should be seeing a lot more touchdown passes from him. A lot soon.
So who did you have, Paul?
I mean, there were so many. I mean, the whole cup, Cooper Nakua. That's the only way you could say it.
Yeah.
That was huge. That momentum swing. Just, I mean, the game was over as soon as that happened. But yeah, I had to go with the O line. The O line, they got busy. The Rams won that game in the trenches. They ran the ball. They played a solid physical game, and they kept Stafford upright. They kept him clean, and that really was phenomenal. And just like I said last week, shout out to the Rooks, man. Limmer and Dietich did work, man. It's not easy to be out there. Limmer, to me, if I had to give like a player of the year right now, it would be Limmer for the Rams. He has saved their
Hard
season.
to disagree with that. I mean, real quick for everyone out there, Dietich had an awful game against the Raiders, but it wasn't awful enough for us to lose. Paul, we watched the film, and I know, Mark, you watched the film with us as well. Dude was a night and day difference from that Raider game to this Thursday night game for the former USC man. What a big difference. And then Bo Limmer's been killing it. The whole line was fantastic against Flores' defense. So what a great pick, Paul. I can't agree more. I mean, I guess if they don't give Stafford time, how can he be my player of the game? So I mean, it's what a great effort that was. But I just had to share that. Like, Dietich was awful, and in this game he was awesome. So hopefully we get more of that soon.
And shout out to the coaching staff. There was a wonderful adjustment in that game. Ram Nation, go back and watch it from the first half to the second half. They were blitzing his gap. They were like, let's go after the Rook. And then in the second half, they were getting him out there in space, using his mobility. They were throwing those swing passes. They were getting him out there, let him get downfield. And that's really what was impressive. The kid's mobile, and when he's out there, he can mix it up. So he battled that whole game. Great adjustment by the coaching staff, and that's what it's all about. Next man up. We're talking about the Dodgers, same scenario. Excuses show up every week. But it's the tough players that stick around. So shout out to Dietich and to Limmer.
Yeah, and I think the Rams are going to have we talked a little bit offline about the dilemma the Rams may have when Jonah Jackson and Steve Avila come back. I think we kind of know what the solution's going to be, and there's probably going to be just one unhappy offensive lineman, I have a feeling. So who did I have? I just went with Puka, and obviously had a great game. Just what he adds, his presence on the field, he is such. He's must be a scary player to DBs. I'm telling you that. When he gets the ball in his hands, it's a different thing going on when Puka's got the ball, and his just his vibe on the field, what he adds on the sideline, everything he adds to this team. And I'm not trying to downplay what Cooper Kupp does, but I'm going with Puka. He might be my new favorite player, and I'll roll with him as my player of the game. But like we talked about, virtually every unit stepped up in this game. There's about 7 or 8 guys you could give game balls to, and Puka's mine.
Yeah, gentlemen, Rams Nation, this dude's a beast. I mean, to tie Justin Jefferson for the second most games with at least 100 yards through the player's first 19 career games, I mean, damn, dude. I mean, everyone thinks Justin Jefferson's going to be a Hall of Fame player one day if he keeps it up and injuries don't ruin anything. For Puka to be in that same convo, and then obviously LBJ has the record right now. I mean, dang, dude. We got lucky, sincerely, that he was available and that we took a chance on him and that we were able to fully unleash him last season with the injuries earlier in that 2023 campaign, or else we never would have maybe gotten this record or seen him really explode. I mean, thank God he showed up. And let me say this real quick, being at the game, every other game, if you've been Rams Nation, home game at SoFi Stadium, they alternate between offense and defense in the player intros right before the national anthem and all that. Ironically, whether this was on purpose or not, it was the offense getting introduced individually before the game happened on Thursday night. When this man Puka came out and he was hype hopping around, this stadium was popping. Same thing with Cooper Kupp as well. But for him to be the unexpected last minute activation, and it was like, hey, he's going to play. I mean, the stadium was on fire. I mean, LA loves Puka Nacua, and I think he loves us back. And it's good to have him. He's good. I'm glad that he's a Ram.
Puka Nacua, as I call him, the yak man. That you watch him play, never goes out of bounds. Plays with force. He's like a tight end in a wide receiver's body, man. It's just unbelievable. The physicality, the dedication, and the commitment. You want to learn how to play wide receiver. All you young Ram fans out there, watch this kid play, right? And people are spoiled. We are all, as Ram fans, are spoiled. He put together the best year for a receiver, best rookie year for a receiver in history, right? NFL history last year, and now the best thing for us is now he's back in the swing of things, and one of our most potent offensive weapons now is coming back fresh. Not a lot of wear and tear. Hopefully that knee holds up, and for the rest of the season, watch him roll.
Puka Nacua, is that what you said?
Puka Nacua. Watch the yak.
I'm still not sure I'm going to ever get past his poor 40 time, though, guys. Just have to say that.
Well, good thing Les Snead agrees with the majority of us. The underwear Olympics, is a portion of the evaluation process. So
right.
The do or die all mark. I think you'll be all right, dude.
Hey, so we want to start talking our Week 9 game with our friends up north, the Seattle Seahawks. I think this line has already changed again. It was originally the Rams were underdogs, at least prior to the Sunday games. It might be up to a 2-point spread now. And there's some data on these teams over the years. And just reiterating, Rams win, Cardinals loss. Rams will be in first place, which would be pretty amazing. After all we've been through. What's your gut feeling going into this game, Paul? Do you have a good feeling about this game?
I have a great feeling about this game. So you have your gut feeling going in, and then when you start to crunch the numbers, you're like, holy cow, I didn't even realize that. And you start to look at it. So, for example, they have the fewest rushing attempts in the league and the most passing yards in the league. So, Ram Nation, let's just stop and reflect on that a moment. Forget everything else. Forget our personal feelings. That takes the Rams' run defense, which is absolutely atrocious, out of the equation. So it actually helps the Rams. Secondly, that means the Rams can stay in their best look, which is the chime, otherwise known as the cheetah dime, right?
Yeah.
They can stay in their chime, or that speed nickel, as I like to call it, and they can stay in those two looks for a vast majority of the game. If that's the way Seattle's going to play it, it might actually benefit the Rams. But do not sleep on this team. They're a well-coached team. That defense is. If you look at that defense, they got some players on that side of it. And Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet, if they want to run it, they can. So this is a game that the Rams have to show up and play with the same type of intensity that we saw against the Vikes, the same type of football IQ like we saw against the Vikes. If they put together a 60-minute game, I'm really liking their chances.
Yeah, I feel it. I feel that. I mean, this is a big. I was going to say huge, a big, huge game this weekend here. I mean, are we going to have the highs of like the 49ers win and then the letdown the following week, or are we going to actually capitalize and handle business and win like we're supposed to? Now, this Seahawks defense is in transition, everyone. Pete Carroll ran a 4-3 defensive scheme, the base of it. And what that is, you have 2 D tackles, 4 defensive ends, and you have 3 standing up linebackers behind them. It's very old school, very typical of past football iterations. Now they are a 3-4 defense like ourselves, where you have a nose tackle. You have 2 D tackles, 2 outside linebackers that could drop into coverage that are standing up. Then you have 2 inside linebackers. So they haven't fully addressed every position. It's a lot of free agents. Obviously, trades have happened with them, and it'll take some drafts for them to get the players that fit that 3-4 scheme that they now run with McDonald there as their new head coach. So because of that transition, I mean, their defense has been incredibly spotty. There's been moments where it's looked pretty solid in my eyes, and there's been moments where I'm like, oh, we could take advantage of that big time. So because of that transition, I think we do have a shot to score some good points on them. And they've gotten shellacked on defense in recent weeks. Let's just be honest about it, which is in our favor. But before we, I guess, keep going into the keys of the game and all that, I think we got to talk about their best players real quick off the top of my head. So speaking of defense, I mean, Rick Woolen, he's one of their best players right now. No doubt about it in my eyes, right, gentlemen? Dude is got good length. He plays big. He's got a knack for the football. He gets his hands on it. But there is, again, bad moments from a lot of corners. That's just the game that you play at that position. But no doubt about it, if we're not careful with the football, if Stafford's not careful with the football, he seems to be around it and get his hands on it in some way, shape, or fashion. Right, gentlemen? And then also, we cannot forget, obviously, the freak of nature, DK Metcalf. Dude's unreal. Now, if we can get him frustrated and getting pouting like Jalen Ramsey like to do against him all the time and get him in a bad mood, it affects the whole offense. It affects his mindset, how they call plays. People start, battling each other on the sideline, on the Seahawks sideline. But if he's making plays and he's in a rhythm, then we could be in for a long day defensively. But no doubt about it, his talent and everything, he's a damn good player, and he's one of their best players. But the surprise, which probably shouldn't be a surprise to a lot of people, is now they're starting to really feature the running back Kenneth Walker. Now, with our run game defense not being the greatest, I mean, if we can't stop this guy, we're going to be in for a long day as well. I mean, it starts with him. Number 9 for them. He's agile. He's got burst, power, strength. He's good in the passing game. And we've lucked out the last few times we played the Seahawks where he's been banged up, hasn't played, hasn't been 100%. But it feels like maybe this game he might be the healthiest he's been in a while playing against us. So I am worried about his, potential of him, swinging things in the Seahawks' favor. But this dude's a beast. And if we don't rally and try to get him down on first contact, we'll be in for a long day as well. But, gentlemen, those are who I think are the best players. Any objections to that? I mean, I think if we can contain those 3 guys, we have a great chance to win outside of all the schematic things and stuff.
Yeah, I have no disagreement there. There's one guy that always seems to be a dagger in the Rams' heart, and that's Tyler Lockett. He's getting up there in years.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's in a second, third receiver now. Him and Njinga Smith Njinga. I hate saying his name.
Njigba, I think. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Those two are pretty much locked in as the number 2 and 3, pretty close to each other in yardage. But Tyler Lockett, I don't know how many times he's had big catches against us late in the game, but
yeah, he's killed us in the past.
Kind of waiting for him to retire sooner rather than later. He's been around forever, it seems like.
Yeah.
So, what are the keys to victory here then?
Go ahead, Paul.
I think the Rams should ride their momentum. We're going to talk about some stacking blocks in a minute, but I think the keys to victory for the Rams just keep doing their thing. The Rams finally got some of their key players back. And key thing, Ram Nation, keep this in mind: the Rams have not played their top offensive chip yet, which is their intact offensive line. So that's something just to keep in mind. They still have not played their top card yet, which is all the money they spent on their offensive line with Jackson, and obviously we have our young gun Avila. So when that line is intact, which will hopefully be in a couple of weeks, this team is going to take another step forward. So that's what we're talking about. So we're just scratching the surface in this case. I think the Rams keep the momentum, keep running the ball, having a balanced attack. I think that was the key against the Vikings. They really were able to control momentum. They were really able to dictate the pace. They played a great, intelligent game with field position that helped them tremendously. And now they're starting to work in some bodies, guys that you're seeing the effort has gone up. all around. The football IQ, understanding of down and distance has been much, much better, and they're not shooting themselves in the foot. So I think you just keep riding that momentum against the Seahawks. If the Seahawks want to throw it, put it in the hands of Geno Smith. Right, they have if I'm not mistaken, I think they're -4 in the turnover differential. So that means they will turn it over. So get after it if that's what they want to do. They want to throw it. Stay in your nickel, stay in your dime, and get after it. Let your big boys do the work up front.
Yeah. For me, I mean, we got to be able to run the ball on them and stay balanced. We said it last week. The formula is there to win ball games offensively, and they did it against the Niners, and they did it against the Vikings the other day. Be balanced, be objectively creative, right? Don't be just doing a bunch of things at 11. Mix in the 12, mix in the 13. I saw a couple times. That was cool. And keep the defense having to prepare for a lot of different looks, and I think we'll be able to score a lot of points on them. I mean, gentlemen, and in Rams Nation, if you ever got time, I mean, look up all the defensive rankings. I mean, they're below us in a lot of categories. And you can say, oh, they played Josh Allen. Oh, they played this, so and so and so. I mean, whatever. You play who you got to play. But they've gotten lit up recently on defense. And if we find the balance, we'll be able to light them up too, I believe. It won't be easy. I mean, I'm sure they're going to be knowing it's do or die time as well for the division lead. But if we play how we're able to play, if Sean calls the game like I know he's capable of, being diverse, I think we will put up a lot of points on them, and we have that. Now, our defense against their offense, I mean, it's pretty dang simple. Get to Geno Smith. If you start pressuring him, he'll start making bad decisions, right? He'll start forcing things, and that's when he forces one too many, and we can, snag some, whether it be batted up in the air picket or a straight interception. And then got to contain, like I said earlier, got to contain Kenneth Walker. I mean, if he's going off on us, forget it. We'll be, on our heels. Well, there's a run, there's a pass, and that's when the Seahawks have been their best offensively, is when Kenneth Walker is really cranking. So, I mean, if we can stop him, number 9, and then we can get Geno flustered, right, with all the pressures that we're able to get with our young bucks on the D-line, I think we have a great chance to win. But it all starts with our offense and doing what they're supposed to do, and Sean McVay calling the game like he's supposed to call the game. Balanced, diverse, and just run that damn football.
Yeah, I hadn't given a lot of thought to this yet, but then hearing you, Ian, talk about Walker, the running back, and the Rams at times have had, less than great performances against the run. They did pretty good against the last couple of weeks. They've done well, holding up. They shut down Aaron Jones pretty good, so there's been some improvement there. But I think the Rams offense is going to have success against the Seahawks. I think the Rams pass defense is going to be challenged by Geno Smith and their receivers, but I think we'll hang with them okay. It's going to be a high scoring game. I just think we just got to make sure Walker doesn't go off on us. Keep him under 4 yards per carry, maybe under 100 yards. He's going to have his yards. He's going to have his moments, but don't let him control the game tempo-wise, grind it out against us, and then open up the passing game for them. I think we're going to get to Geno Smith a couple times too. It really comes down to, I think that's probably the two things I'm most worried about is locking down their run game, and need Joshua Carty. He needs to come through for us. I mean, he was 4 for 4 on extra points, no field goals. So I still need to see something from him. Hopefully he doesn't cost us anything up there in Seattle. That's happened to us before with Greg the Leg. That was one of the more painful losses.
Yeah, I mean, well, they out there in New York land, in the Jets land, I mean, they put him on IR because, maybe he might have been hurt and kicking that affected him, but he probably was going to get benched anyway. Let's just be honest. He's had a rough patch, so hopefully we don't get into that.
Right. Doesn't come down to that. Yeah.
And that game cost us the playoffs looking back, right?
Right.
But I will say this about Cardi real quick now that we're on that subject. Because I was at the game, I'm there pretty, at an early enough time to see, a good majority of pregame warm-ups. And, the whole field goal operation, because the snapper, the holder, Ethan Evans, our punter, and then Cardi being the kicker. I mean, they're all out there doing all the different angles, all, from all depths of the field, 40-yard, 30-yard, extra point, 55. And he made all his pregame kicks. Because I remember in previous games where I had been to, where we had, a bunch of random revolving door of kickers last year, I was like, oh, he isn't making it. That's not good. So Cardi's got it in him. And I thought if we would have had to have summoned him to kick field goals in the Vikings game, I wouldn't. I mean, obviously there always is a nervousness when your field goal kicker's out there. I mean, even the greats like Tucker have been missing this season too. It happens. But based on pregame warmups, I felt good about it. So, I mean, if anyone can ever keep their eye out, whether it be on X, see what reporters say, and see how Cardi is kicking and get that info, that should always help you either feel good about it or feel bad about it going into the game. But I felt good about it seeing him in person bomb 50-plus yarders in pregame. Again, different situation. Crowd's not there. I get all that. But he's got it in him. And hopefully,
Yeah, and
he'll have it in him for this game if he is summoned to kick.
yeah, and the one miss he had, which game was that? Was that the Packers or the Bears? I forget. Maybe it's I forget. The one kick where he hit the upright. He was on the right hash mark. Yeah, he was on the right hash mark. Where that's the worst place you want to be as a right-footed kicker, right? On the right hash. Just looked like a really bad angle, and he missed it. So let's see. What do we? Hey, Paul, you want to get into your little presentation here? We can do that now if you'd like. You've been
Sure. Let's do our weekly chalk talk. Right. Absolutely. So we've been talking about stacking blocks every week, talking about building momentum. So I kept the same slide just from last week, just so that we could see this is what we had talked about. On this cast, we were saying stay the course, stay the course. And there you go. Let's go bullet by bullet, and let's just see gold stars for where we were able to see the coaching staff come through. So we had talked about the overutilization of Tutu and Parkinson. Well, that goes without saying. Gold star here. They threw the ball to Coop. They threw the ball to Puka Yakua, right? And we saw the damage that was done. They got the ball even to Kyron. Kyron caught a TD in the air. That was another great play, utilizing him in the passing game. So gold star there, putting the ball in the hands of your best players. The Rams were lucky they got two of their best players back for that Viking game. So there's your gold star right there. Keep hammering it with Kyron, mixing Corum. What did we say? That's exactly what we saw. 27 carries between the two. Gold star right there. That's exactly what we had called for. Keep using that aggressive Eagle set. They did introduce the nickel package with Boom. That was really interesting. Boom got a ton of burn in that game. They even worked in Hummel in that game. But Boom and Curl really, to me, are the keys to that nickel package. And we saw the aggressive usage of Curl closer to the line of scrimmage, particularly as a blitzer, made a world of difference. And that dime package just speaks for itself. It gets their best players on the field all at once. And that's what it's all about. Get your best 11 on the field and let them, play in one speed, which is top speed going forward. And that's what this dime package does. It's going to start generating even more turnovers. But now that they can run it out of their nickel and their dime, that's going to account for, think about, that's about 60% of your snaps, maybe even 70, depending on who you're playing. So that's really going to change the dynamic of this team on defense. So kudos to them. We'll hold off on these two for a second, and let's just go down here. Just so that everyone can see, we did say we are not selling. We are buying. We need to get somebody to help in that run game. We are looking for that monster in the middle. I threw out a name, Dalvin Tomlinson, but I definitely think something's going to happen probably before Monday. I think once the Seahawks game is over, it turns out to be a W, which hopefully it will. I think you'll see that move probably by Monday. We said add in our boy Omar. So they get a half a star right there. They didn't pull off a trade yet, but they get a half a star because they brought Omar into the equation. Omar, he may not have jumped off the screen at your Rams Nation, but he did make a difference. You could just see the speed, the tenacity, the willingness to hit. It was definitely there. And I think the more this kid plays, the more he's going to make an argument to stay on the field. Going back to when we had talked about the secondary, you started to see the bodies sort of pile up, right? Like, where was this movement going to start to happen? And now we start to see the talk about my boy T. White and the trade. I really hope that they find a way to work him into the mix, but this might just be a numbers game. But So there might be a T. White scenario where he winds up with another team. So, but that is what we had talked about, this sort of logjam developing in the secondary, but in a good way, because it shows the depth, but it also shows, look at the number of veterans that they have, particularly at corner with D. Will, Spoon, and Kobe Durant. So going down the stretch run, when you have veteran corners, that makes a world of difference. It makes a difference on third down, makes a difference in clutch situations. It also makes a difference when you're blitzing and you have the ability to run with receivers all over the field. So that's huge. And then I highlighted in red some of the players that, we have been talking about that might be involved with a trade scenario. Gallimore is injured, so they're a little light. We saw Jonah Williams find his way on the field, one of my favorite players. I'm probably the happiest Ram fan when they re-signed Jonah Williams. And then, of course, Bobby Brown 3. Everyone is saying he had his best game of the year. Show it to me 2 games in a row. Then we'll talk. But I still think that's the area where they need to improve. We'll be right there in the middle at D tackle. But if you take a look, 3.5 stars, Ram Nation, not bad. Talk about stacking blocks. So we'll see after the trade deadline, these 2 areas that are remaining, we'll see whether the Rams decide to shore them up or, like I said, moving White, maybe acquiring another D tackle for a run defense. I think it's going to take this defense to a whole new level. I don't think we're going to be talking about the Rams defense as a negative much longer.
And the trade deadline's Tuesday, correct?
November 5th, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, well, hopefully something happens, but yeah, it'd be interesting, if they would they make a trade if they lose? Maybe we don't want to talk about that. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about what they're going to do if they win. If they win, maybe they'll pull off a trade. I think if they were to lose, they still might.
I think they have to pull off a trade. You have to improve this team, and especially in that one area. If you look at this team, like I said, their best offensive chip hasn't even been played yet. When this O-line gets healthy, Kyron is hitting on all cylinders. They're getting their receivers back. They have a very, very deep receiver room. And there are some names on this roster that can be moved for value. So they can definitely get a quality player or players. And let's not forget the impact that Odell Beckham made back in 21. So, this team can definitely benefit. And if you're going to go into this, you got to start thinking long term. You cannot go into the playoffs with a run defense that's given up like 140, 150 yards on the ground. You just can't.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I don't know if Tutu's elevated his draft trade value. He probably has. It's just a matter of, are there teams out there, playoff contenders, that would want that type of receiver,
He's sticking around. Let's be honest. He's valuable to us. He's valuable. I mean, Stafford should have had him for a touchdown. I mean, he underthrew that slightly on that fade route. We play action pass. And again, I know your point earlier, Paul, about like Tutu's got to go up and get it, but that's not his game. He's a smaller guy. He's more of like throw it up and let him run under it. So Stafford, again, still has a great arm. He just underthrew it by a foot and we missed it, but he's gonna get behind defenses, and that's valuable. He runs the speed outs good. He can run the dig routes good, and he'll get down to avoid getting, slammed. And he's got value, guys. Rams Nation, he's going to stick around. Coach McVay likes him. He's going to stick around, especially with the injuries. I mean, let's just say some other crap happens with the receiver room, and then it's like we bailed on him. That would be just a dumb move, I think, because I think if we do get into a playoff game, he will have value, and he will get defensive pass interference calls or score, touchdowns long or get big yards. So I don't think it's happening, Mark, truthfully.
Yeah, he is one guy that can really stretch the field if the Rams use him right, so that's good.
Well, that's the key. It's the utilization. So, where he works best is, look, he loves those crossing routes. He loves those mesh routes, and that's been the point, is like, let him do his thing. If that's his thing, so be it. He does, listen, he's not an overly physical player. However, being your fourth wide receiver may not be like the worst thing in the world. He is a veteran. He does run fairly consistent routes. The issue is can he, in those situations, like you were saying, right? If a ball is underthrown in a key situation, if a ball is underthrown, you don't have the luxury of just saying, all right, well, we'll run it back up next time. Sometimes you got to go up in clutch situations and make plays. And the play that stands out for me the most is that 2-point conversion. When they needed that 2-point conversion, he didn't turn it upfield, and he wasn't forced out of bounds. He ran out of bounds. To me, now that Puka's back, now that Coop's back, maybe that scenario, being around those guys in the locker room, is going to change that dynamic, right? And we'll see Tutu play a little bit different. If he's going to stay on the field, you can't have those kind of plays. You can't run out of bounds in a crucial situation like that, right? Yeah. And in key situations, when they call your number, you got to come up big, particularly when you got Matthew Stafford there. So if they're going to utilize him right, I agree. They got to let him get those cross routes. They got to get him vertical. You know, he's a nice complement to a lot of things that Tutu does and Cooper does, right? In that intermediate part of the field. And you want to hit the seam and you want to hit those deep routes. Tutu's the guy. He's got speed. He's got speed to burn.
Yeah, he does. I mean, gentlemen, real quick. So Puka number 1, Cooper number 2, D-Rob number 3, Tutu number 4. Jordan Whittington's arguably a 4 in that group, but he's the 5th at the moment. Tyler Johnson's your on the last on the list. It's pretty dang good, man.
Xavier Smith.
It's going to be hard.
Yeah,
and it's going to be hard. Yeah. That's the key. It's going to be hard to get 2 reps. Tyler Johnson's like a mini tight end. That hook curl zone, that's his. He parks there. He just catches the ball and he falls forward for 8 yards. That's what he does.
And as much as we love 12 personnel, even fewer reps for the wide receivers, right?
Yeah, you're not keeping Jay Witt off the field when he gets back. So that's what I'm saying. It's going to be hard to get him reps. But even if you work him in for 4 or 5 plays, those are 4 or 5 splash plays that you have the potential for. It's just a matter of utilization. The bottom line is it's going to be a number crunch for him really to get reps.
And I like what the Rams did, with Cooper and Puka. They both, I don't know what percentage was. It was a lot fewer snaps than they typically would get. And that's what they need to do to extend these guys' careers. The way they play, their physical style, they have the receivers they can rotate in, run different sets. They don't have to run. And, Cooper, when he's out there, he used to be running 2 miles in motion every game on top of the blocking and on top of the route running. It's just got to take its toll, right?
And that's the key moving forward is the load management. They came back. You don't want to overutilize them. You want to have a balanced attack. You have the luxury of depth at a wide receiver. Every rep you can salvage to give them a break or a breather is going to pay huge dividends. If your goal is the playoffs, keep these guys fresh, right? You got big bodies in Jay Witt and Tyler Johnson that can absorb some of that abuse. Work in a nice rotation. Don't overutilize them. Load management the rest of the way. And you got Blake Corum, load management for Aaron Kyren too. So come playoff time, they can hit on all cylinders.
Yeah, I think Corum's going to just break through one game. He's just, at some point, he's going to have a big game.
And a highlight of that Vikings game that not a lot of people are talking about is the utilization of Parkinson in the 11 and then utilizing both Hunter Long and Davis Allen in the 12 so that all 3 tight ends were on the field and really getting a look at seeing, not just seeing all the 3 tight ends, their different skill set. Listen, I don't know about you, but Hunter Long is a fan favorite. When he caught that pass, I think everybody in Ram Nation was like, there you go, big guy, right? that kid's been through a lot. So, that's a great example of what we've been talking about, getting all 3 tight ends off the roster into the game.
I know the Rams obviously know what they're doing better than I, but I would have thought that Colby would be in the 12 personnel as opposed to Hunter. I thought Colby would be one of the 2 in the 12 personnel, and Hunter Long or Davis Allen would be the tight end in the 11 personnel. But
yeah, I think Colby's more of a pass in McVay's mind. He wants more of that combo player, but the more of that vertical threat that they see Parkinson as. That's probably why.
Yeah, I mean,
fair enough.
Shout out to Colby. I mean, Colby's involved in a ton of wham blocks, right? Everyone, when you leave a defender unblocked, and instead of like a offensive guard or an offensive tackle cutting him off, like slamming in him to open up a hole, they have the tight end doing it. So an unblocked defender getting hit from the side by not a lineman, from a tight end, that's a wham block. And they have Colby doing that quite a bit. So it's not like they think he can't block and they're yanking him out. It's like, oh, he can't do the 12. So, I mean, hey, work this game. Keep doing it, Sean. do that rotation, I'm fine with it. So,
But Mark's right. Like if you put Parkinson in with Davis Allen to that 12, right? Mark, look at the dimension that 12 takes on, right?
no, I get
That's
it.
it.
Yeah.
From the athleticism standpoint. I think that's Mark's point, right? And he's spot on. Parkinson and Davis Allen in that 12. That's a totally different dimension. Think about it.
And I would like to see Hunter Long have more opportunities in the passing game, but Rams know what they're doing. I'm not going to second guess Sean McVay too much on the subject. He certainly has this offense pointed in the right direction. Hey, before we get to our game predictions, I wanted to go back and share one of my favorite Rams Seahawks moments. I don't know what year it was, 2021. I may get the year wrong. Rams go up there for a wild card game, and everybody's picking the Seahawks. That was the game. I think Wolford started and got dinged up, and Cup had to come in.
Yeah.
DK Metcalf is
Goff.
up.
Goff.
Yeah, what did I say? Yeah, I'm sorry. Goff was had to come in for Wolford. DK Metcalf is pissed off on the sideline. He's not getting touches. He's not getting targets. And then this happened, and it was one of our favorite moments. D. Will just waiting for that pass, and that put the Rams up, and they never looked back. And that was one of my favorite moments. And there were so many. All the experts pretty much were saying Rams had no shot in this game, and maybe that was because Wolford was playing. But yeah, that was a great moment, and Rams have done well up there over the years. Better than most, that's for sure.
And real quick,
Mark, are you calling a pick six, Mark, in this game that's coming up? Are you saying D. Will goes down memory lane? Is that what you're saying, Mark?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, this is the way I look at predictions like this. If D. Will has a pick six for a touchdown, I look like a savant, and if he doesn't, you all forget about it.
That is right, baby. That is right.
So yeah,
D. Will. Not too long ago, D. Will was a part of the number one ranked defense in the entire football league. I mean, people forget for whatever reason. Everyone was like, D. Will was okay. I mean, Rams Nation, D. Will was an awesome corner for us, and even right now he still is an awesome corner. I mean, even his time in Jacksonville he was good by all metrics and just by the eye test. I mean, we got a bargain on him. I'm glad that he's playing good football, healthy again, and we need some interceptions because he's got good ball skills for sure. Good times.
Yeah. So if man, I guess I'm really pulling for a pick six now. That'll make me look good.
Dude, all in, baby, all in.
Yeah, I can always, if it doesn't happen, I always come back and edit this portion out after the fact.
Oh, well, we all take our lumps in our predictions, so be it. But speaking of that, I guess, what are your early score predictions, Mark, while we're on that subject? What do you think?
I still think it's going to be, I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think both offenses are going to have their way to some degree, but I just think, I loved what I saw from this Rams offense last week, and an extra couple days to prepare. They're going to a divisional game. They have a history of playing well up there. McVay has done well against the Seahawks, and I'm going with Rams 30, Seahawks 20.
That sounds pretty realistic. I respect that. That's a good score right there. Anyway, mark that down. I know you've been close to some other scores in the past.
Yeah, last week I did pretty well.
Yeah, it was pretty good. What about you, Paul? What do you think? What's your
you know what they say, great minds think alike. I had a 27-17. So I thought that the Rams are going to give up a couple more points than I would hope for. But I think the Rams are going to generate some turnovers. I love the red zone efficiency to improve now with Puka and Koopa back. I think they're going to get their run game going. That's going to shorten the game a little bit. So I went with 27-17.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm also have Rams win. It's been a while since I picked them to win a game, but I said they got to show me that consistency, like start stacking some wins, and then I'll start to believe that it can get it going. Now, again, like we stated earlier, is it going to be the 49ers win where the game plan was great plays were made, yada, 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 and then the next week we just abandon that game plan style and we just go to throw the ball gazillion times? If that happens, then we ain't going to win probably. But for this week, I do believe now that the full cast of characters of this Rams offense are back, skill guy wise. Obviously, we're missing a lineman. I think they'll be able to put up points, but I also think Seahawks, knowing that this is a do or die game for them at this moment, they'll have a good effort on offense. And I don't know if we'll have the full personnel figured out yet to stop them completely. And since they've had a lot of bad games offensively these past, 3 weeks or so, it feels like they're going to be very, very determined offensively to try to put up points and stay alive and stay around. So I think 27-24, it'll be a nail biter division game. We'll be holding our breath till the end, but I think now that we have Kupp, Nakua, we're using 12 personnel. Kyron scores a touchdown every game, it feels like, since last season. O-line showing that they can play well with rookies. I think we can outscore them and stay alive and get first place in the West. So 27-24. And Rams, don't make me regret this. Please win the damn game.
Make no mistake about it. Seattle's going to dial it up on D. They're going to come after it.
Yeah.
And worth noting, Friday, Saturday, rain in Seattle. Sunday should be about 50 degrees, but dry. And that's always good to know. Just
look at, man, Stafford can throw it through any weather, so I'm not worried about it. It's not like other quarterbacks who are like, he's going to be able to do it. And Stafford can handle it, which is nice. Thank God.
Yeah, I just like to. It's nice to know that there aren't going to be any external factors, turnovers, fumbles, that type of thing. Just even playing field, 50 degrees. Should be good football weather.
Sounds like running weather to me. Run that rock, baby.
Just run that damn ball, baby.
And SoCal, that's the thermals weather, at least for some of
us. Break out the bubble jacket.
Yeah, the beanies. Yeah. Okay. Hey, good stuff, guys. We'll do a post-game reaction Sunday afternoon after the Rams win, and be pulling for the Dodgers here in about half an hour. Hopefully they close this out, because if they don't, we're going to start getting a little bit nervous. Come back to LA and close it out, hopefully, either tonight or the first game in LA. But I'm with you, Paul. I think Flattery will get it done.
You got to do it for Fernando. You got to do it for Fernando. I mean, obviously, they have to do it for the city of LA. They have to do it for themselves, right? It's been a great team that's I think somebody was telling me, like, the number of injuries was just like, they calculated the number of missed games. It was like off the charts. So this team has just done it with it reminds me so much of that 1988 team, except that they just have a much more dynamic offense. This offense is, when it gets going, is like really, really like eye-opening.
Hey,
but,
and I have to say,
do it tonight. They have to do it tonight.
I have to say, Paul, hopefully they bring out a different rapper tonight in New York. I just wasn't feeling it. I don't remember his name, but I don't know, man. LA does it better. Sorry.
You weren't feeling Fat Joe? Is that what you're saying, Mark?
Yeah, no, I was
not on your playlist, Mark. No. Not on your playlist.
No.
You don't have Terror Squad on your playlist, Mark? What's going on, buddy?
I had you don't want to see my playlist. I'll lose all kinds of street cred. So, unless you're into yacht rock, we can talk about it.
Yeah, rock, respect. Oh well.
Okay, guys. What's that, Ian?
Just win, gosh dang it, Rams. Yeah. Just take care of business, please.
Yeah, and I think they will. They've done well up there, and get to 4-4, first place. Man, good times. Okay, guys. Thanks a lot. We'll talk again late Sunday.
Safe trick-or-treating, Ram Nation, and do it for Fernando, boys. Let's go, Blue.
All right.
Keep up the winning ways, LA. Lakers look like they know what they're doing for once. Dodgers finish the job. Rams winning streak. Galaxy, LAFC, playoffs. But regardless of all that, don't forget, you got to run the damn ball to win. Salute.
All right.
Get ill with the pill, baby.
Okay, guys. Thanks a lot. Out here from Rams Up. That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Our handle is at laramsup.com. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.